So when we get back into the mindset of my brain is the safety, and if I don't touch this trigger, it doesn't go off, those 4 basic laws and rules of gun safety work for me and the person that's in charge of running this gun and having this gun. But that doesn't work for the children who don't know those safety rules. That doesn't work for the neighbors' kids who are snooping around who don't know that. This doesn't work towards the curious, idiotic girlfriends that some of you have that go through and find guns and touch them. That doesn't work for the person who doesn't have common sense, because common sense is not common. Two types of people in this world when it comes to firearms. And though it seems quite stupid or unnecessary, the logic behind either having a safety on your firearm or not having a safety is actually quite relevant. And the ideas behind both are quite logical. You know, they make sense. I'll have 2 different types of people that come into my store and they want to purchase firearms. I have one type of person that says, I don't want a gun with a safety on it. I don't like my firearms to have safeties. I don't want my concealed carry weapons, my handguns, to have safeties. Don't sell me a gun with a safety. I get it. Then I have another group of people that come on and say, I prefer a safety. I like safeties. Safeties do not bother me. I'd actually prefer a gun with the safety on it. What is the 2 mindsets? What is the 2 reasons for having a safety or not having a safety? The obvious. Let's deal with the first group, right? Which is our group that does not want safeties, do not like safeties whatsoever. This group and the ideology behind this type of group would say, if you follow the 4 basic principles and laws of gun safety, you will not have a problem with gun safety. That gun will remain in a safe condition and have no accidental discharges or fires whatsoever because your brain is your safety. If you do not touch that trigger unless you are absolutely ready and sure you want to shoot, that gun will not go off. That gun will not shoot. 99.9% of the times that is actually true. Your brain is your safety. If you do not touch that handgun, that gun will not fire. So the notions of this gun being safer because it has a safety to that group seems logical. To not have to use or use a safety because the only safe thing between you and this firearm shooting is the common sense that you apply with your brain by not touching the trigger unless you're ready to shoot. That's true. The other notion behind the group that thinks like this will also say that in a situation where I'm under stress, where I'm attacked, I'm being beaten, I'm being jumped, and whatever the case is, and I need to present and use my firearm to stop a threat from doing what it's doing, I don't want to have to worry about sweeping a safety off. A safety is another mechanical device that could fail or break during the worst times possible. I've never had a safety break on me. It can happen, I guess, and it probably has happened, but a safety on a gun, when you're considering your concealed carry gun, is that safety going to be there when you need it or not need it? I don't know. That's up to you to decide. But this group will say it's one extra step in that millisecond of me having to sweep off a safety upon presenting my firearm could be the difference in getting the shot where it needs to be or not, or all these things matter in time. And that could be true. I couldn't completely understand that. So you have one group of people who are extremely responsible who say your brain is your safety. If this gun is yours and you are in complete control of this gun under all times, conditions, situations, and dates, then if this gun is in your possession, the only thing to make this gun shoot intentionally or unintentionally is you. Use your brain. Don't touch the safety. And don't worry about having to sweep safeties off and all these different things on your firearm because it's there to shoot. But then I have another group that says, I like a safety on my firearm. It gives me a peace of mind that this gun will not shoot. But really, what is this group saying? Is this group saying that I'm incompetent to trust myself, so I want to trust a mechanical device? No, not so. It's actually quite the opposite end of the spectrum. When you talk about the reasons that majority of people come into my store and they want a safety on their firearm, it's not for them. It's not because they feel safer with a safety on a firearm so that, you know, the firearm doesn't shoot by itself or they accidentally discharge it by drawing it. That's not what they're saying. They're saying the safety isn't for me. The safety is for little people at the house. the children at the house, the person or people that may accidentally stumble upon and find my firearm, go high and low looking for this gun and find this gun. That safety gives me an extra peace of mind and precaution that my children aren't going to blow their heads off. My children aren't going to be able to take that safety off and kill themselves or kill somebody else. Or my children's friends who come over to the house and are curious about guns are going to find this gun and use this gun accidentally. That's what it's about. It's not about them. It's about the person who might end up with that gun that you don't want to have that gun. If you're like me, I've grew up my whole life pretty much without safeties. You see what I'm saying? And growing up, before my wife, before my children was ever filled with, before my household was ever filled with children, I was the guy that didn't care whether I had a safety or not. I'd actually prefer to not have one because it was one less thing on my gun I have to worry about. So without the safety, me being in control of myself, me being a single person at that time, 100% responsible for me, myself, and I, and nobody else, not having the safety was fine. Training and shooting the way I was shooting, not touching that trigger until I'm ready to shoot and I've aligned up where I need to align, that was fine, no problems. But it wasn't until children and little people were introduced into my life that my ideas behind having a gun with a safety or not a safety started to change. You see, me, when I drive in my car, my gun rides on the seat next to me or in my holster on me. My guns might ride on the dashboard, in stuff, cup holders, whatever the case is. I'm in Michigan, so if I have a license, I can do whatever I want to do as far as transporting this gun. There's no right or wrong way to do it. I go through the Burger King stop, and guess what? The gun is sitting right there on the seat. Big deal. But when you talk about that gun that I so willy-nilly within my possession, put wherever I want, how I want, because I'm the only person responsible for me. When you have children, all that changes. This gun now, all of a sudden, you think differently about it because it's not just me and the gun. It's me, the gun, and family members. Me, the gun, and children. Me, the gun, and children's friends of children's and other people. So the dynamics of it changes a lot, and the thoughts of it are peaceful when you consider having a gun with a safety or not having a gun with a safety. So when we get back into the mindset of my brain is the safety, and if I don't touch this trigger, it doesn't go off, those 4 basic laws and rules of gun safety work for me and the person that's in charge of running this gun and having this gun. But that doesn't work for the children who don't know those safety rules. That doesn't work for the neighbors' kids who are snooping around who don't know that. This doesn't work towards the curious, idiotic girlfriends that some of you have that go through and find guns and touch them. That doesn't work for the person who doesn't have common sense, because common sense is not common. Those 4 basic rules of gun safety don't apply with gun grabbers and the anti-gun ban-alls. They don't understand that. If they found a gun, they don't know what's safe or what's not safe. So it's safer in the mindset of a person that has a gun to make it safe for you versus making it safe for me. But when we're talking about presenting a gun to use it in self-defense, does it really take up that much time when I draw my gun and sweeping it off? Is this just a training issue that can be overcome? I believe so. I believe that if you train with anything, you'll become proficient at it. If you do something thousands of times over, you'll become proficient at it. So if I take a gun and as I'm drawing it, I'm sweeping the safety off at the same time that I'm presenting it, if I've trained to do that, it doesn't really take up any time. But if I just pull a gun and utilize it without the safety, do I prefer that? Absolutely. But I completely understand both sides of the logic. But one side, the safety is not for me, it's for others. And on one side, a lot of times it's the single guy or the guy who has this gun for himself, and him only. Not having a safety is going to work for me better. I understand both sides. It makes sense.